Welcome into Tornado Live, sponsored by Black Horse Pub and Brewery. This week's guests are the Alcoa swim team, Eli Graff, Eli Owens, and Jameer Turner. Hello, everyone. I'm Heath Dunkel alongside Scott Dunkel. And Scott, last week we spoke strictly about the Battle of Pistol Creek. And, man, it feels good to be back out here again, especially after a huge win.
Exactly. And not only that, of course, we just played Union County on Monday, but still just celebrating the win over Maryville on Friday and the way we did it. That was great. I loved it.
Yeah, absolutely. You spoke about it, and we'll talk more about it near the end of the show. But prior to this season, the two previous Alcoa-Maryville rivalry games ended on offensive plays. This time it was a defensive stand by the Tornado defense at the very end to help them come away with the victory. But, Scott, enough about the Battle of Pistol Creek, as we've got a lot of other stuff to get into, and we'll start with the Alcoa swim and dive team. As with me today, Hannah Rothenberg and Selena Coker, the coaches of the team. First off, thank you both for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to jump right into it and get things started. The first thing I want to know, a newly formed swim and dive team this season, kind of reviving, as we talked about before the show, a program that had some really had some greatness behind it. And so now trying to get that back going again. The first thing I want to know is, how did this get started?
Well, I think for us, it was just to offer the kids an opportunity to share their skills. Most of what happened for us is both of our daughters swim, and so there wasn't an opportunity at the high school level at Alcoa High School. So last year, my daughter, who's a sophomore, had to swim with Maryville High School, and so like we talked about earlier, that we had to do all of this stuff for her to continue to swim. And so we just got together and thought, hey, let's do this for our kids, see if we can get some other swimmers, and that's kind of how it all got started. So,
yeah, and I think I'll just add on that. Living in Alcoa, we have three in our area summer league teams, and that is where the majority of kids get their start in swimming. I mean, their parents are like, we've got to get them out of the house. They've got to do something, and so we have some really great teams in our backyard. One is at Springbrook Pool, literally in our backyard, and then one over at Green Meadow Country Club that's pretty close, still in Alcoa. And between those two teams, you're talking about 400 to 500 kids every summer that are in the pool training, learning fundamentals, and we're just missing that gap in offering them a seasonal option to continue to swim along with other sports. I'm a big proponent of playing multiple sports as long as you can until you feel like you want to specialize, and there's a gap there, so we want to fill that gap.
Yeah, absolutely. So get the team started, trying to get it going, and I imagine one of the hardest things to do when that starts is building the team out, right? Building this team, getting the players together, swimmers, together. So talk to me about what it kind of took in year one to build this team, and then who are some of the key swimmers you have leading you this year?
That's right, Heath. They're not players. They're swimmers and divers.
That's right.
Well, we are very lucky in that we have some kids who are already swimming year-round on year-round teams. I mean, I would equate that to like a travel baseball or travel soccer team, something like that. They're swimming every day, year-round, sometimes twice a day, which is really tough as a parent, but that's another story. But they are sort of the foundation of our team. And then we're building on top of that with swimmers who maybe only have that summer league experience, or some who have never swam before in their lives.
Yeah.
And that's been a really cool experience for Selena and I, because we've already seen so much growth with those less experience. It's only been like less than 3 weeks.
right.
But high school swimming is really cool because it is a team sport. It's an aspect of that swimming experience that's not quite so individual. A lot of these kids that are swimming year-round, it's a grueling thing to have to do every single day and try to shave tenths or hundreds of seconds off your time. And so high school swimming offers a different experience because it's not about the times, it's about being with your team, it's about being versatile and maybe swimming some events that you wouldn't normally swim, because we need you to swim those those events. And together, I feel like building out the team, it doesn't require a lot of kids. It just requires them to be open to being a good teammate and doing what your coach wants you to do to score the points that we need to score to win a dual meet. So
Yeah.
And I would just add to that to say that one of the benefits of having those year-round swimmers is they bring all that experience to the table. So these other swimmers are benefiting from what they've been working hard to do. So I really think that helps bring them together. And so, for example, if you have a swimmer that's not ever swam before, we have a whole crew that is ready to teach. A lot of these kids swim all the time, and that's part of what they love to do is to help other people. So,
Well, that's fantastic.
we've already seen a lot of that.
Yeah.
Selena's daughter, Carson, is just, I mean, she's a natural teacher. I don't know where she gets that from. But also, we co-op with Clayton Bradley Academy, which is a program that is a similar situation as us. They want to grow, and so we partnered together in order to try to help promote swimming and diving within Clayton Bradley, but we have a couple of swimmers, Ethan Scruggs and Tori Goff, who are joining us, and they've been really just, I mean, acclimated into the crew already. And then I've been really surprised by Braden Gibson, who is, he swam for the Maryville Alcoa Flying Dolphins for several summers, but never really, dedicated himself to something like this, and he's been a really natural leader, from day one. And I see a lot of potential with him to really be one of our key scorers this year. And Nathaniel Dutton, who is one of our homeschool students joining us, who lives by Green Meadow, right? So he lives within the Alcoa City limits. He's swimming with us because of his residence. And he's also, we've named both of them, Nathaniel and Braden, team captains this year because they've been so great and just getting the whole team to gel together really quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scott?
All right, Heath, thank you very much. You mentioned earlier a little bit of kind of what I'd consider a feeder program of the communities, for teams and so forth like that. But tell me about the age groups. What age would you normally say kids start, or does it really matter of their age?
Well, I'm affiliated with Green Meadow Swim Team over at Green Meadow Country Club, and let me tell you, we had 158 and under swimmers. Many of them were 4 and 5 years old this year. So a lot of these kids are learning at a very young age, sometimes before they can read, how to be safe in the water, which is another thing we have to talk about. I mean, this is a life skill. Swimming is a life skill that everyone should learn. But they're typically only swimming up till in the summer up until middle school, where maybe some Alcoa residents don't realize there is an opportunity to swim in middle school, represent Alcoa Middle School. You're just having to do it under a cap that is red and black and has an M on it because it's called Maryville Middle School, even though there's not a Maryville Middle School building in itself in the school. But there is that opportunity, which I think there's room for growth for us there too. I think that's a pivotal age, going back to the age group, that 10, 11, 12, where a lot of kids are, their parents are throwing every sport in the book at them, just seeing what, trying to find out what they love. And yeah, I mean, some of those summer league swimmers will only ever swim summer league, but it's a huge gap between just swimming in the summer to year-round swimming, which is 6 days a week, meets every other weekend, I feel like. So this offers an opportunity for kids who are of any age, really, to continue swimming seasonally.
yes.
Sorry, one more. Just going over the fact that the Olympics just ended. What kind of uptick do you kind of see in the popularity of swimming after something like the Olympics?
Do you want to take this
How can you not love it? I mean, it was so exciting, and I think the kids feel that. I feel like that has been good for our program. I think it was great for our summer league, and I feel like for our high school team, it came at the perfect time. We were able to kind of break away, start our own team, give our kids an Alcoa high school swim team that they haven't had in many years, and it just kind of all coincided. So I think that the Olympics did us a favor by putting swimming in the spotlight.
And the trials in a football stadium, that was really pretty cool.
Right.
And One thing that I will say is that swimming, it feels like when I was a kid, it was one of those sports kind of like gymnastics where you feel like everybody was 16, 17, 18 years old. They were peaking, and then you never saw them again. Now we have celebrity swimmers that are, well into their late 20s, still swimming. Some kids are graduating from high school and getting picked up by NCAA programs because they have potential, and then just skyrocketing.
Yeah.
So I think, I do want to say you can come late to this sport.
Right.
You can
Yes.
there is always room for growth even after you graduate from high school. You can have a long-lasting career in the sport, and I think there are several people right now that are proving that.
Yeah, I'd say Katie Ledecky is certainly
Yes.
a great example of. I still don't know anyone who can match her endurance in the pool. Like,
Yeah, you probably won't ever.
That's right.
I would be surprised. Who knows? 4 years from now, maybe she comes back again. But she was just lapping people in those
Absolutely.
endurance trials and races. So, want to lead from that into kind of going into the season and talking a little bit about it. So, for those who maybe don't know a lot about swimming, can you walk us through what this season consists of?
Well, around this time of year, we start out with dual meets. Sometimes they're tri-meets with 3 teams competing against each other. And we'll do those sort of small, battles with other teams that are similar to us in size up to about mid-January. And then at the end of January, we have a championship meet for our region, which is called Kissel. It's the Knoxville Interscholastic Swim League. It's pretty much all the counties kind of in between Chattanooga all the way up to northeast Tennessee and Cott County. And we'll come together at the UT Aquatic Center and have one championship style meet with a preliminary session and a final session. That is really, I think, where we're going to shine because we are a small division team, but we're a well-rounded small division team. And I think we may have a chance to do some damage there. That's my
I think
goal.
we'll definitely do damage there.
Yeah, my goal
I
is
love
to
it.
come out on top, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm a competitive person. We'll see. We've got a lot of ways to go, but I do want to point out that season, November to January, really, maybe if some of the kids are making state qualifying cuts, they'll swim at a meet here at the UT Aquatic Center. It goes back and forth between Nashville and UT at the TISCA State Championship meet. But you have to have a qualifying time for that, so that'll be something that we're really working with our kids to try to qualify for those meets.
Okay, in the dual and tri meets that you spoke about, if I was reading correctly, it sounds more like those are really more opportunities for these swimmers to get in front of other competition and kind of see where they stack up and where they stand, so they kind of know when they get into those bigger ones, like what they need to do to separate themselves. Is that right?
Absolutely. We have our first one Friday.
Okay.
In Pigeon Forge against Pigeon Forge and Sevier County.
Okay.
So
Awesome.
that'll be a good way for these kids to really come out of the gate.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, my final question for you all as we kind of close out this segment is year one, like you talked about, trying to build this program back, hopefully eventually move on to extending it to a middle school program as well. But for year one, what are the goals and expectations this season?
I want to win. In short,
Yeah.
I want our kids to get out there and do their best and race. That's really what high school swimming is all about, is looking at the person who is next to you on the block and staring them down and then putting your hand on the wall first. And I've been really impressed. We did have an inter-squad practice meet this past Saturday at the National Fitness Center it was Blount County High School and Maryville High School. And from what I saw at that meet, we're going to reach those goals.
I think our kids are excited. I
Yeah.
think they've got this new opportunity to be this first team in a lot of years. And I think at one point, like Hannah was saying earlier, we had an amazing swim team. It was somebody that you wanted to compete against, you wanted to win. And so we hope that we're building that culture again and giving these kids an opportunity. It's really all about getting these kids in the water, all the way from the 4-year-olds that she talked about up to these high school kids, and just giving them a spot, a team that they can belong to, so they continue that lifelong skill. So that's I think both of our goals, and to continue to nurture that within Blount County at all these schools.
Absolutely. Scott?
Sorry, one final question here from me. Where can I go to find your schedule and keep up with what's going on?
Yeah, so we have a website. It's Alcoa Swim. No, it's alcoa.swimtopia.com. You can also find that on the athletics site through the Alcoa schools
The high
website, the high
Yeah.
school website. But our meet schedule is there. Information for our swimmers is there. It is not too late to join us. So if you
It's also
Have-
not too late to sponsor us.
Oh, yes.
Sure, get real
We should be
close to
talking
that
about that.
microphone.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and okay, final thing as we wrap it up, and this is not a question, this is more of a, I just wanted to kind of go back to a story you shared with me
yes.
before we came on. You told me this was, being able to revive this program was kind of a full circle moment for you. Explain
Yes.
why.
So I swam for Dobbins Bennett High School in Kingsport, Tennessee, back in the 1900s. But at that time, Alcoa had a really great team. In fact, one that out-touched my relay every year at state for about, 4 years. And then my sister was a year younger than me, got them at state her senior year as well. So I have this thing. I always remember Alcoa being this huge program, and that's what I thought. I thought they had an established, really great program because they beat me every year. But now we get the chance to do the same. So DB, we're coming after you.
That's right.
I love it. Well, thanks so much for taking the time with us today on Tornado Live. We wish you the best this season. We'll certainly have to keep up with it, and maybe we can hopefully make an appearance or two and come out there and check out what they're doing. But, guys, that was the Alcoa Swim and Dive team here on Tornado Live. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to be rotating through some incredible players who played on Friday night in the Battle of Pistol Creek. We'll be right back. Welcome back into Tornado Live, sponsored by Black Horse Pub and Brewery. Certainly appreciate them allowing us the opportunity to be back here tonight. Up here at the table with me now, it's QB1, the man of the hour. Also, as of 12 p.m. today, the 5-Star Preps Player of the Week. So congratulations to you, Eli, on that. A lot of hard voting by the community, and certainly glad that we got you that, and you were able to win that award. You deserve it. Had a really good night on Friday in the Battle of Pistol Creek. For one, the first question I want to kind of go into on that, so far kind of a revenge tour season for you. First, you were able to kind of get back on West to beat us at home 2 years ago, your sophomore campaign, and then got Maryville as well at Maryville on Friday after they beat us last season at home. Did those games at all fuel you this summer in preparation for your final year?
Definitely, especially the Maryville game, because, I mean, that was a tough one to drop last year. They ruined our undefeated season last year, so it felt good to be able to ruin theirs this year.
Well, now let's kind of walk through that Battle of Pistol Creek and the epic game that it was. Number one, the first touchdown. After an impressive stand by your defense, really kind of set the tone to start that football game. The offense really moved the ball well, right? They moved the ball down the field quickly. You scampered 17 yards for a touchdown. It really feels like there's times, and I've seen this the last few years with you, where you seem to just know, maybe it's an internal clock of when to take off and kind of keep your eyes down the field and when to just go. Is that something that has just kind of come natural to you, or is that something that's kind of been taught over the last few seasons you've just gotten better at?
I think that's just something that's natural. I kind of, if first few options aren't there, I think I've been blessed with my legs to be able to escape the pocket and use those. But I mean, I've always tried to keep my eyes down the field when I do get out of the pocket, but sometimes it's just better to just take the yards when you can get them. So.
Absolutely. Well, you go to halftime. Maryville takes the lead right before the half after a really tough battle back and forth between you two, because you got the touchdown, the extra point got blocked, but then Kyron Tyson's able to get a field goal up. You guys are leading, and then Maryville scores right as you go into halftime. What was the message at the half for the team?
We just need to steal the momentum back. They had gotten some momentum there at the end, but we knew coming out we had to come out, play it just like we did on those first couple drives of offense, just run the ball down their throat and just take what we can get. And just our defense was playing good, so the message was them just keep doing what you're doing, and the offense will come through when we do. So.
Yeah, it was kind of one of those things, too. I have to agree with you. I got to halftime, and while the scoreboard may have reflected Maryville winning, I felt like there was a lot of that first half where Alcoa kind of had their way. The offense was moving the football. The defense, for the most part, had some really good stands, one or two broken plays that really, to me, were kind of the difference in that first half and were correctable. So you move into the third quarter with 5:35 left in that quarter. Jameer Turner, a big field goal block, really just kind of shifted that momentum back like you talked about, getting that energy back on your all side. You guys start to move the ball down the field. But first, and it was kind of one of those things where Maryville tried to take that momentum, that energy right back away, right, as he blocks the field goal. Then immediately the next play, Jonah Arms comes racing into the backfield and slams you down. You get taken down, and then you were able, the very next play, to then quarterback sneak in or take off with it and run. Was that a designed quarterback run, or was it one of those you dropped back and you were like, I got to go?
It was RPO, so it was quarterback. It was either a quarterback draw or the receivers run stop route. So it was either I drop back, read the linebacker where he went. He went out with the receiver, so I tucked in and run. So.
Yeah, and really good vision on that run, able to bounce it to the outside. A little shout out here for Jameer Dean, who had a really nice block, allowing you to get around that edge and then pick up those last few yards and pick up that first down. But then the play right after that, they almost got it again. Jonah Arms gets in the backfield. You're able to avoid him this time, keeping those eyes down the field, like you said, trying to keep your eyes down the field until you really got to go. And because of that, Colby Cooper comes open, gets a couple steps in the defender, and you're able to put it just perfectly into the breadbasket. He walks into the end zone. Can you kind of walk through that play for me?
Well, so like as you said, the dude almost got me again, but that was actually how it was planned, because the running back kind of cut him off on the outside. That's what he's supposed to do. So it was we wanted him to suck inside, and then the running back get hands on him so I could get outside, so I could either run it again or throw it. So it worked to perfection. I mean, Jacoby's not even the main route on that, but he just slipped past the safeties on that route and got open, so I just gave him the ball.
Yeah, and I mean, So, number one, shout out to the coaches and for you guys kind of anticipating that happening again, because it looked like he was starting to kind of pick up some momentum on the defensive side of the ball, and then you guys shut that right back down. We're able to keep the momentum on your side. And then I'll turn it over for a couple quick questions by Scott, and then we'll kind of wrap things up here as I want to talk a little college with you as well. Go ahead, Scott.
All right, thank you. Eli, after the touchdown, Alcoa is up by 5. They need to get a little bit bigger spread there because 6 points probably could not do it. On the 2-point conversion, it looked like Maryville was going to have you wrapped up at the line of scrimmage. What did you do? How were you able to free yourself?
I think somebody like slipped through and almost got me, and then I ran into the back of one of our blockers, and I think it kind of disguised me from the defenders. So I mean, I think it all just worked out how it was supposed to. Just got kind of lucky, I guess, but yeah, I just found a way to get in the end zone.
All right, and finally, this is more of a seasonal thing, but what can you tell me of the importance of your offensive line?
I mean, they've been so important to our team. I mean, we've got a couple seniors that are leaders on the offensive line. They've helped us a lot. Just the growth from week 1 to now has been amazing with how Coach Gossett has prepared them, and just shout out to him and those guys. They've done so good this year, just keeping their heads down, working, even when they've had some criticism or whatever. They've taken it and they've just went to work and practice and gotten so much better.
And Eli, last question for you here, and we're going to invite Eli Owens to start making his way to the stage. Harding University, a Division II school that was the national champs in Division II last season. Talk about your commitment to them and why you chose Harding University.
The coaching staff there has just been amazing to me. I've built good relationships with them, and it's a Christian college, so it's just a place where I felt like I could grow my faith with God in the next 4 or 5 years. So that's the thing that was big with me, and it just felt like a place that I could another home for me, basically, that I feel like I could just go there and succeed in college.
Well, they certainly are going to have a special player in you, and I know that we're going to be excited to see what you do at that level, but we're going to enjoy the last ride we have with you as well. But Eli, thanks so much. Congratulations. He was our PrintFX Player of the Week as well for his impressive performance as he finished with 7 of 12 for 114 yards passing, a touchdown, 18 carries, 103 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Eli, I was looking back at that stat this week, and I thought, man, that's what 2 players normally get on a night, and you were able to do it by yourself with a lot of great players around you, but you were very impressive, and we congratulate you on the win, and thanks for the time.
Thank you.
All right. Well, that was Eli Graff, folks. Now we're going to transition to the next man of the hour, the Michigan man himself, Eli Owens. Can't wait to get him up here. Eli, thanks so much for joining us. I'll tell you the same thing I told Eli Graff. It'll feel like you're too close, but stay close to the mic. I promise you're not. So I want to also talk to you, just like we did him, the Battle of Pistol Creek, and kind of walk through that with you a little bit. First up, I want to talk about this defense. This was a defense that you held Price Davis, who was averaging 103 yards a game, to 73, and a Rebel offense that was averaging 406 yards a game and 41 points to 278 total yards and only 17. So what was the game plan going into Friday night, and then how were you guys able to maintain the effectiveness throughout the ball game?
Game plan going into the night was just to play our brand of football. Play fast, play physical. Stay at home, read your reads, play your keys, and have fun. And Coach Nix, he harps on us every day. It's always the basic things, it's the little things, it's the simple things that are going to win football games. And we knew coming into Friday, what the atmosphere was going to be, even though we had a whole bunch of kids who had never played in it before, and we knew what it was going to take to win. It was just up to us to make it happen.
Absolutely. Well, you yourself, 6 total tackles, a tackle for loss, a quarterback pressure on defense. But I think what was even more important for me, and there were some key plays defensively, but I think too about the offensive side of the ball, where I think sometimes that can get missed when it doesn't always show up on the stat sheet, but you made several plays that were really crucial on the offensive side, and you sealed off the defenders that allowed Eli Graff and Micah Jones to be able to bounce to the outside and pick up positive yards on a lot of different attempts. What I want to know kind of from you is it could be very easy for someone who already knows kind of what that next level looks like for them and has got all of this talent and when they're not getting the production maybe they want to get that fills up the stat sheet to go, well, I'm just going to take a play off until it's my name again. But you weren't doing that. You were showing up every single play, doing what you needed to do to help your team win and make these plays count. Why is that so important to you?
You know, just because I want to see my team do well. You know, I don't want to be the reason that we lose a football game, you know, especially because I feel like that's happened before, you know, especially last year in the Maryville game. So, you know, anytime that I can give my all for my team and see us succeed, I'm going to do it no matter, you know, what that is.
Absolutely. Scott?
Yeah, thank you, Heath. Eli, in the final moment or minute of the game Friday night, sorry, we've played two since then, so I had to think about it for a second. And you made an outstanding tackle on third down to keep them out of the end zone. They were coming late. What was it about Maryville's formation that you saw that got you in the position you needed to be in?
Well, Coach Nix.
Yeah.
Got a little outside noise there. Sorry, folks.
That guy's got to be so cool. No, that was all Coach Nix, man. He, you know, he told me he wanted me coming off the edge. He wanted me away from the tight end, so, you know, I'd have a free release up on that running back because, I mean, inside the goal line, you know they're not going to run anything cute. They're going to run right downhill, you know, stretch play. It's what they do. It's how they've scored the majority of their touchdowns with Price Davis all year, you know. And once I saw that H-back motion across, I knew exactly what it was. Coach Nix had told me earlier in the game just to stay flat down the line of scrimmage and I'll make a play, and that's exactly what happened.
A great tackle, by the way.
Thank you.
Also, one more just on, of course, Price Davis, a really good running back from Maryville. Was that the plan of attack to keep him under control?
Yes, but we didn't talk about it. Like, everybody knows Price is what makes Maryville go. If there is no Price Davis, there is no Maryville High School. And Price Davis is going to go to Davidson College, and he's going to be amazing. But, I mean, it's just simple football. You can't have a pass game without the run game. So if you shut down the run early and often, shut down the pass, you know, by what is it? By process, whatever. You shut down the pass, right?
Yeah.
So we knew we just had to be fast. We had to be physical, and whatever, you know, came at us, we had to take it head on and go make a play.
Yeah, really made Maryville a lot of that game one-dimensional. You saw, I talked to Scott about it during the game, but Price Davis, because you were able to really contain him in the backfield, they moved him out and did the wide receiver screen just to try to get him involved. And he had that one big play, and I was honestly kind of surprised they didn't go back to it because it was like the one play that he kind of busted through, got about 15 yards, and I thought they would go to that more just to try to get him involved. They put him right back in the backfield, and you guys were right there waiting for him like you had been all game. So congratulations on that. And I called it the kind of Superman play where you got in the backfield, just kind of dove and threw him down and made them lose yards and made that fourth down really hard for them. So that was another pivotal play in that one. But the final question I have for you, and this is kind of more of one between you and your brother here, Eli Graff, is you two have had the opportunity to kind of play together for a while. And we call you guys – at times we've called you E squared, but I want to know from you what it's been like to be able to play with him, and you guys have kind of built that chemistry over the years, and what will you enjoy here in this final playoff run with one of your brothers?
Man, I love Eli Graff. You know, I think at the root of who we are, we're very similar people with very, you know, similar stories. Like, you know, we both came to Alcoa at the same time in 6th grade, you know, and we stepped in together, you know, kind of not knowing where we were going to go or what was going to happen, except that, you know, we were two kids that wanted to be at the greatest school in the county, and personally, I think the greatest school in the state. And I couldn't be luckier to have him as my quarterback and my point guard. You know, everything that he's been able to do for us in basketball, you know, in football. And he was a heck of a baseball player in middle school too. Just having him by my side, you know, it lets you breathe a little bit, because at the end of the day, you know that if nobody else has you, Eli Graff is going to be there for you.
Well, it's been a treasure watching both of you over the last several years. I remember being excited to watch you both as freshmen and thinking about the potential and getting to talk to you about what was next for you. And we were still figuring it out. You were still figuring it out at that point. And so we'll certainly treasure this last part of your journey with us. But thanks so much for stepping on the stage with us tonight.
For sure. Thank you, guys.
Awesome. That was Eli Owens, folks. And now we're going to move to our final guy of the night. That is none other than Jameer Turner. And I've just absolutely enjoyed having this young man on our squad the last few seasons. And Jameer, we're just going to jump right into it, my man. And I'm going to tell you the same thing I told them. Get close to the mic. I promise you can't get too close, so that way everybody can hear you loud and proud. But Jameer, you came into this season, you told me a goal for you was to be Defensive Player of the Year and be a force to be reckoned with on the line of scrimmage.
Yes.
Well, my man, not only have you done that on the defensive side of the ball, but you've done it on the special teams as well. As you've been able to get in with 3 field goal blocks this season, 2 of those in crucial games against Bearden and against Maryville. I want to know, is there something specific you are looking for when you line up on the field goal team, or is it just a move you've been able to perfect that's made you so successful when blocking field goals?
Well, I really think it's because of the coaches. They set up a scheme personally for me and Eli, to where if either they block down on me and they'll come out, his shoulder will come out, Eli will jump over and get the block, or, which mostly happens throughout the season, they block Eli and I just go through his shoulder and get a block, which works out pretty well.
Well, it certainly did, as you were able to come up with a really huge block on Friday night, a block that, in my opinion, kind of swung favor back Alcoa's way and kind of reignited the group. Not only did the play ignite the group, but you reignited the group. You came over to the sidelines, revived the team. The crowd kind of came back alive, and a lot of that I felt like fed off of the energy that you were giving. I mean, you just kind of provided that spark. You know, can you kind of walk through for me what you were feeling when you made the play, and then kind of reliving that moment when you came back over and you were so hyped on the sideline?
Oh, yeah. Well, we were down by, I think it was 5 at the time. And usually, I think almost every time before.
We got another cool one going by. Give us just a minute.
I think almost every time before I blocked the field goal, Owens has told me go get one before. So he did it this time too, of course. And I was just like, it worked out perfectly. I just hit his shoulder, got up. And I knew this before because I saw it the same way. I should have probably had 3 that game, honestly. But the second time we end up getting it, and I just knew I had it as soon as he.
That's all right. We'll get taken care of. There you go.
As soon as it touched my hands, and then I went to sideline immediately, just put a 1 up for like it, and I just went straight to stands because I'm like, there's nothing better than coming back off a field goal block and getting off the field and be able to get the offense back on, especially in that type. I was so ready to just for us to just go get a touchdown and get over them.
Yeah, I mean, and you and I talked after the game before we left that night, and I told you, and I'll tell you again now, but I think that not only the block, but the emotion that you brought back over with you to the sidelines, I thought was pretty pivotal in that ball game and really helped just kind of get everyone going again, kind of get them fired up again. And then what you saw was after that block, what happened that next drive? That block, and the next drive, offense gets down the field and scores a touchdown and flips the script in that ball game. So it was really crucial, and proud of you for that. Scott, I'll turn it over to you.
All right, thank you, Jameer. Although all throughout the Maryville game, every time we looked, tackle after tackle, you were involved with something. But what was noticed by Heath and I was that the energy that you brought not only to your teammates but to the fans as well, getting them energized. Can you tell me what this game meant to you?
Well, it meant everything to me because last year, I'm still mad about last year, if you don't know. But last year, that was probably the first game I really got to play defense. And I feel like I didn't do my job as well as I should have. And ended up where we didn't block no field goals, had no tackles. And it just felt like we could have won that game so much more if I had came in more. And I just felt like I had to make sure that I left Alcoa on a win against Maryville, no matter what. And I knew from the start of the year that Maryville was good. I knew from probably week 4, I think they were going to be undefeated by the time we got to them. And I knew they had already good O-line with Alex Boyd on the left tackle side and having Brody Smith on the right. Both really good tackles. Didn't get to go against them a lot during the game, I guess, but they also had a big old center. And I just was like, I have to do my job for this game. Like, have to do my job because if I don't, then we probably don't win this game.
Well, you did an outstanding job. That's for sure.
All right, well, Jameer, final question for you, kind of post Battle of Pistol Creek now. You and I talked about having the opportunity this past weekend to go visit another college as you are still kind of figuring out what that next step looks like for you. Can you talk us through recruitment a little bit, just what schools have offered you so far and who are you talking to right now?
Well, I've been talking a lot to Maryville College and Sanford. I'm offered by Bethel University. They're a little farther in Middle Tennessee, and Maryville College and Sanford University. Right now, probably the main goal is to probably be either close or be closer to where my dad is up in Indiana. So right now I'm trying to get connected more with Carson Newman. I love Carson Newman. They're probably my favorite D2 school right now. I love the campus, the coaches. I love the especially the new head coach. I think he's brought a lot of new energy to that school, and he did what he said he was going to do when I went to their camp in the middle of summer in July, and he said we were going to win games, and so far he's won games. So I would love to be under a coach that does what he does and make sure everybody knows it.
Yeah. Well, keep us posted on that. We're certainly excited to see kind of what the future is for you as well. So many talented seniors on this club that are now going to have a chance to move on to the next level. But first, a chance to wrap up 3A football as your final class in the 3A football before they move to 4A and get the 10th consecutive state championship. So we're certainly excited to see what you all can do. But Jameer, it's always a pleasure. We had the Eli's, and now we get you on the stage, and appreciate you taking the time to come out tonight.
Of course.
Awesome. Well, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to wrap up the show as we talk about our final thoughts over the last few ball games and then how the regional standings will play out here in the final week of the regular season. We'll be back in a moment. Welcome back into Tornado Live on Black Horse, sponsored by Black Horse Pub and Brewery. And Scott, one of the things I was thinking about as we were coming into tonight is the very first show we got to do a few shows ago got kind of chilly near the end of it, but the last few, this weather's been great.
Yeah, I'm happy with what we got right here. This has been fantastic.
Yeah, not only great weather, but the trees starting to change colors. The fall is in the air, and it's beautiful out here tonight. And speaking of great things, a little shout out as we wrap up this show, the Alcoa cross country team, the boys and the girls, winning the regional championship. We had Coach Haggard up here on the stage with us a few weeks ago, and we're talking about that coming up and how both of them had an opportunity to potentially win the region crown, but she wasn't sure how that they were going to stack up and how they were going to finish. Well, they did it, and we can't wait to see what they do next, but we just wanted to give them a really quick shout out. Super impressive for both squads to be able to get that regional championship.
Yeah, and what did you say, state coming up next?
I believe so. We'll have to find out when that is set for, so we can keep you posted on that as well. And after state, maybe we can get Coach Haggard and a couple of players up here with us to talk about the experience and how the season wrapped up. But, Scott, as we finish out this show, let's talk about number one, the last two games, the Battle of Pistol Creek, an epic finish. Any final thoughts of that game as we move on toward the final game of the season?
You couldn't have asked for a better game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like you talked about earlier and we discussed before, not many games finish with a defensive stand to stop, but outstanding play by the Alcoa defense. Offense played great. They were clicking, and, I mean, everybody was doing their job, and it was just fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of one of those games where there were so many, and I could probably talk about it for hours, but there were so many little things throughout the game, little moments, like plays and pivotal blocks and pivotal runs that made a difference. It wasn't just one play. It felt like there was a lot of plays strung together that you could go back to that made a huge difference in a big-time game. And then the Tornadoes had to turn right back around on Monday, 2 days ago, and play Union County at home. And so that's kind of a tough experience, something I had never experienced myself. And for the players, after kind of getting beat up in a very physical game on Friday night, then having to turn right back around on Monday and play Union. One good thing is at least they were at home, and they got to do that. But Alcoa started the game in the first quarter with their starters, and then by the second quarter, we're really able to start rotating in some younger players and getting them some opportunities as they came away with another win in the region. But it was, again, it's always fun, I think, Scott, in those games where we get to learn a lot about the future of Alcoa football.
Right. Oh, yeah, exactly, Heath. And nothing on Union County. They have struggled a lot, and not just this year, but over the years. But they were just playing as hard as they could, to get out there. But good, like you said, to see the second string players or the third string freshmen, whoever, to get out there and get some opportunities to get playing time, because the only way you're going to get experience is if you're out on the field doing it.
Yeah, and I saw, too, that a lot of the players that were playing for Union, sophomores and juniors, so they've got a squad that should hopefully be returning a lot back next year and continue to get even better under their young coach, Noah Malachites. We certainly wish them the best of luck moving forward. But speaking of moving forward, Scott, there's still a lot of things up for grabs as we move to the final week of the regular season. Number one, Alcoa's got a big game on Friday, and then two, there's some other things that could be shaken up in the regional standings. So I'm going to let you go over that.
All right, Heath, thank you. We're going to start off. Kingston right now 3-0, Alcoa 3-0. Both sit atop Region 2. Austin East 1-2, Union County 1-2, and Scott 0-3. However, Austin East plays Scott. If Scott beats them, that could possibly shake things up. But right now, as it stands, if Austin East goes in and wins, it's basically going to be, and Alcoa wins, obviously, it's going to be Alcoa, Kingston, Austin East, and Union representing 2A as they face not 2A, Region 2 as they face Region 1's coming up. And that's an interesting scenario going on there right now as Johnson County's undefeated, but then you've got Gatlinburg, Pittman, and Unicoi County one game behind them, and Unicoi is playing Johnson County. I think that's almost like a traditional game at the end of the year. Gatlinburg Pittman has Chucky Doak, who's out towards the bottom of it. But then you got Pigeon Forge that's also sitting there trying to get that fourth spot. It's going to be really interesting Friday night to see how at least the scenario for 3A in the upper regions, how that works out.
And honestly, I kind of like it when you get to that final game of the season, and there's still some things to be determined because there's more to play for, and instead of just we're gonna kind of half do it here in the final game and just move to the playoffs. No, there's still a lot left to be had for every team. And so I think that's going to be the fun part of this Friday night. And for Alcoa, trying to come away with another region crown, continue their consecutive region win streak as well before they move up into 4A. But, yeah, a lot of things to be determined. That game, 7 p.m. at Kingston High School. But if you're not able to make it out to the game, you can listen live to us on the air, as we will be on YouTube. We will be on NFHS as well on Friday night. And Scott, another quick tidbit just for those who may be tuning in tonight, and we'll continue to talk about it over the next week or two. But when we move into playoffs, we will be on NFHS only, and then potentially Podbean app as well. We will not be able to be on YouTube in the playoffs because of the agreement with the TSSAA. So the NFHS will be the way to watch during the playoff time, or listen to the audio if we're able to cover it through the Podbean app. So we'll continue to keep you posted on what those options are, but we just want to go ahead and give you a heads up on that. But Scott, one final game left for Alcoa in 3A and in the regular season. It's going to be a fun night.
Oh, yes, it is. And we've always enjoyed going to Roane County High School at Kingston to watch that game and be able to call their great host every time we go. So we're looking forward to getting up there, but we're also looking forward to an Alcoa victory.
Absolutely. I actually reached out to the Kingston Athletic Director today, and within about 20 minutes, he got back to me with things that I needed and requested to help us with the broadcast on Friday. And I told him, even in that email, we certainly appreciate their hospitality and how great they are to take care of us when we need it. So it's going to be a fun night, and we can't wait to bring it to you on the NFHS Network. But, guys, thanks again for watching Tornado Live here at Black Horse Pub and Brewery. Heath Dunkel alongside Scott Dunkel. And until next time, so long, good night, and yes, that just happened.